Good morning, good morning. What's up, everybody? Welcome. Happy Sunday. Hope you guys are doing good, alive, slept well, avoided the crazies, and there's some type of cold front. I think the Northeast is mostly getting it, but in Florida, it's been pretty cold too. I mean, kind of. I mean, my cold is definitely not similar to these people's cold, but let's see how it is right now. Right now, it's 72. Never mind. This doesn't even look right. It says it's cloudy, but it's sunny outside. What the? It says cloudy. It's not cloudy right now. Let me check the watch. Yeah, it says cloudy. It's just bright as hell outside. Okay, whatever. Okay. I mean, you can't have clouds in the sun, but the way they're making it look like it's dark outside. But anyway, good morning. Let me get my headphones on. They're doing a press conference at 12 Eastern for the New Orleans terrorist, I guess, bomber. The FBI is actually doing a press conference, so we'll see what happens with that. It's going to be interesting. Or maybe it won't be interesting. Maybe it'll be boring, redundant. I don't know. Yeah. Well, I have a couple of... I thought this was funny. I changed my thumbnail. I don't know what I like better. I don't know if I like the CyberTruck or I just did like a regular. I did this thumbnail, which is kind of, I didn't really have too many ideas, but I did that. But then I changed it to this because I thought that this was funny. The Babylon Bee posted this article. Tesla Cybertruck voted worst vehicle by National Association of Terrorist Car Bombers. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. The terrorists. They got Twitter pages, Facebook pages, but God forbid you curse on social media. They ban you, suspend you, demonetize you. You're put in Facebook jail. But we got to make sure they have an online place to feel safe. And they have their own pages, groups, all kinds of shit. So I wouldn't be surprised that one day Tesla Cybertruck voted worst vehicle. This is not a good one, my friend. Don't pick this one because this can mitigate the damages if you're attempting to blow yourself up. I don't know. And there's a lot of people who are saying that this Cybertruck thing is like a psyop. Everything's a psyop. Everything's a psyop and something's, I don't know. They're even saying, I don't know if you heard those emails that we read the other day that the podcaster came out with. They're saying that's fake. Some people are saying it's fake. They don't believe it. Because then they release some other manifesto. So I don't know which one's true. Following its poor performance and an attack outside the Trump Hotel, Las Vegas, Tesla Cybertruck unanimously voted worst vehicle by members of the National Association of Terrorist Car Bombers. The group took an official survey of its membership after the hotel bombing was a startling 100%. Startling with 100% of responders giving the Cybertruck the lowest possible score for its suitability for its association work. Terrible job, hard pass. Anthony Larson, Vice President of NATCB. While other manufacturers do a great job of designing vehicles that perform well during terrorist bombing attacks, Tesla has really dropped the ball with the Cybertruck and has shown itself to be completely inadequate for our needs. Not sure what Elon and his team were thinking when they were making this one. Other members of the organization were equally disappointed. It's almost as if Tesla gave no consideration to how the Cybertruck would do when fashioned into a weapon of mass destruction, said Anwar Al-Habib. How are we supposed to use this vehicle to kill innocent, unsuspecting people when the bomb blast barely makes it out of the cab? The thing with the blast, though, they were saying this guy knew what he was doing. I mean, he was in the military. He had a lot of experience. And he would have known how to make something more if he wanted deadlier. But he didn't. And chose to make some type of fireworks show. And then I don't know if you guys saw this either. And we'll get back to the Cybertruck thing. This was in Dallas Airport. I saw this the other day. This dude's backpack starts lighting on fire. Like, what would you do here in the airport with all this shit that's going on? the way things have turned out, the way 2025 started. And homeboy's backpack, you watching this shit. Look at this guy over here in the red, in the back. That dude just turned around and he just has his camera out. Would you start running? Would you inform the authorities? Is this a bomb? I'd probably start distancing myself. Is this shit gonna blow up? What's wrong with this motherfucker's backpack? Sorry about the curse. It's kind of early for cursing Sunday. Bro, and he's just calmly disassembling his burning. What's going on in there? I would have been stomping it out. And I would have been, I would have the self-awareness, because look at the crowd behind him. Everybody's turning around in the seats. I would have had the self-awareness to be like, damn, these people are going to think I have a bomb. Yo, I'm going to stomp it or whatever it is. He's just slowly, let me just disarm this, whatever this is. They say it's a battery? Bro. Wow. I don't know what happened. Where did he run off to? Did he get any help? Bro, I'd probably diss him. I'd get up, walk to the other terminal or something, and inform somebody. You know, another situation, and I saw this, I think, a couple of days ago, and it keeps popping up on my feed, and I mentioned it on Discord, and I thought about my mother, too. I sent this to my mother this morning. New York City halal food vendor caught catching live pigeons and bringing them back to his halal truck. Wow. And he seems, the way he grabbed this pigeon, he seemed like an expert. Bro. Quick. Stood still for a little bit. Eyed his target. Boom. Stuffed it in the bag. Very inconspicuous. He very fast. So maybe if you're not paying attention, maybe you're walking by, maybe you're on your phone. Except this person caught him by recording. But you might not even notice this. Just some guy on the street. Maybe you think he fed the pigeons, or he's just admiring the pigeons, but you didn't know he was hunting them. Look at that shit. The flick of the wrist. Did he snap the neck all in one flick as well, like, and stuff him in? Damn. Oh man. What does that say? Organic on the top or something? That green sign, or is that halal? I don't know. Organic? Bruh. Damn, bro. Oh man. All right. I guess you never really know what you're. I don't know what halal means. That's a good question, because I think Warwolf was asking that, and I even Googled it. What does, I thought it meant like, I don't know. Halal. What does halal mean? It's an Arabic word for lawful or permitted. I thought it was like kosher or something. I thought it meant like they pray over it or something, you know, like some type of way they do the halal food is considered cleaner and healthier because of the strict zabiha slaughtering process. This process ensures that most blood is drained from the veins of the animal. Wow. Okay, so it depends on the context. This process ensures that most blood is drained from the veins of the animal. Some of the requirements of the process include the animal must be removed from the herd. So that's exactly what he did. Hey, he's sticking to he removed them from the herd and out of sight of other animals. That might not be halal then. The animal must be calmed and laid on its side. The animal must be slaughtered in a single swift cut at the neck. The name of God must be recited. So it is kind of like a thing. Okay. Like almost like a kosher thing, I guess. So they must recite the name of God over the animal at the time of sacrifice. The entire animal should be utilized, including the bones, wool, or fur, and its cartilage. Okay. Alrighty. Well, I saw that and I was like, wow. Legendary, what's up? Good morning. This is another thing before we get into the updates, and we're just kind of killing a little bit of time before the press conference, but I haven't looked too much into this. There's some YouTuber accused of threatening kidnapping a woman in Houston before fleeing to Qatar. What was going on?
I moved to Dubai.
Oh.
The people that's wondering. Feel so good out here. My kids, listen, so I'm having more kids, right? With my future wife, for sure. And Aiden. My kids are gonna be homeschooled, bro. It's getting real wicked in the United States. A lot of y'all not paying attention because a lot of y'all sleep, and the news outlets are not speaking on a lot of shit that's going on there. It's gonna get real over there. Y'all might think I'm lying. Y'all might think I'm just talking. Y'all seen other people probably saying it. But you know, people don't believe until the shit hit the fan. That's one thing I noticed about most people in the United States. They want to party, ha ha ha, live life, ha ha ha, until the shit hit the fan. When that shit hit the fan, then everybody, oh, they want to scatter it.
Okay, whatever he's talking about. Yeah, I don't think they sell pigeons like it's advertised. I think that, you know, my opinion, that they're probably selling some type of improvised meat. Like if you go to buy something and you're eating dog and you think you're eating chicken or something else. I think that's maybe what's happening. I don't know if you saw this either. There was this viral clip. This one has 19 million views on Twitter. And at first I thought this was a skit. Let me see. Cop falls off car, but I guess it's real. I need to find like an official article about this. Let's see. She I guess some cop was chasing after her. Or he notices she left.
Oh, she's trying to run.
I don't know what he was trying to perform here, but he tries to jump. Maybe he was trying to jump in, or but the force of her taking off pushed him back, and he falls off.
Oh, she gone.
Wow, it's real, right? I don't know what the article. I wish I had an article for it. Well, if anybody sees it, I guess send it to me, email it to me. So maybe this is it right here. Bond set for 2 women charged after Beaumont officer suffers head injury. So he got injured. Oh, this is the lady, definitely. Let's pull this up real quick. So they caught her.
Developing tonight, a Beaumont police officer
that's
recovering from serious head injuries in Houston. Good evening to you. I'm Jordan Williams. The officer fell off of a car while responding to a disturbance outside of Little Woodrow's early this morning. Police say 28.
Oh, that's them? 2 women arrested. All right. Melissa Bell and Jamasha Butler.
And 22-year-old Melissa Bell had too much to drink. An officer put Bell
in the milk,
arresting her, but Butler took off. And the video shows what happened next. We have to warn you, it's difficult to watch. Butler headed for her convertible. The responding officer not far behind. You'll see here, he jumps onto the back of the car, hoping to stop her, but instead he fell off and hit his head on the pavement. 12 News reporter Ebony Coleman joins us. And Ebony, folks at nearby businesses say this really highlights ongoing security challenges.
So Jordan, we want to warn you that the video that you just saw, it is difficult to watch. Police tells us that the officer was originally called to the bar for a disturbance. He was injured while trying to arrest the 2 women.
You may have seen this viral video. It shows the officer, who hasn't been identified, attempting to stop a woman who was driving away at Little Woodrow's on Phelan early Friday morning. The woman inside the car is 28-year-old Jamasha Butler. You can see as the officer jumped on top of the car, but he fell off and hit his head on the pavement. 12 News spoke to Ashley Johnson, branch manager at Regional Finance. She works a few doors down from Little Woodrow's. Johnson calls the incident concerning.
For that to happen and only be 1 cop out here, I think that was very dangerous, the way the car just sped off, and that was just it. So it's a little bit concerning.
Johnson says she blames the trouble on the younger crowds the bar seems to attract.
All right, so the guy got injured. He's alive though. And then last thing before we start getting into some of the details, or I don't know, the quacky stuff, and the press conference is in 10 minutes. For the FBI is having a press conference on the terrorist in New Orleans, dude. Yeah, I don't know why he hopped on the car like that. That was, I don't know. But then the people there were kind of just watching to the witnesses. They're just kind of like, oh snap, yo! And that was kind of it. Just kind of left him there, I guess. I don't know if somebody called 911, I guess, but they're saying Alex Jones loses it, lashes out at critics, accusing him of selling out to Elon Musk. I saw this clip last night. I thought it was kind of funny. I don't think he was actually pissed. I think he was just doing what he does, theatrics as his character. But
the hell? And what the hell? And he's exposing Jeffrey Epstein and the CIA. Hell, last week he put out tweets about the CIA at war with America. God almighty. Jones sold out retweeting that. God, I apologize to all of you. I'm sorry. I sold out. I tried to stop the pedophile rings, the giant Muslim kidnapping rings. I'm sorry. I kissed Elon Musk's ass. We're so close to getting the globalists. I want their throat. I want victory. And now you can see it. And you guys think you're going to harass Elon Musk and push him off of supporting Trump and divide Trump and Elon? You're not. We have already beaten your ass. Oh, let's continue. What the hell?
There's been like a lot of infighting because of the H-1B. Is it H-1B? H-1B visa. And a lot of people feeling like they're being censored on Twitter, and they feel like Elon turned his back and all this stuff. There's a lot of drama online. I've been watching some of it, but and so now with as far as the CyberTruck thing, which I almost can't even keep up anymore. The CyberTruck thing, well, one, they're saying they think this email was fake. The one with the podcaster got, Sean Ryan. Let's take a look at this guy's video. But I've seen other people saying, I don't know if this guy has a history of like being fake, but I don't know. But then they say this guy didn't show any evidence. The guy that's accusing them of faking it. But I saw a lot of people claiming and believing that the email was fake.
Right, and this guy, Sam Shoemate, are lying to you. This guy, Sam Shoemate, runs this conspiracy theory account called Terminal CWO. I actually caught him last year spreading fake emails that claimed U.S. pilots weren't getting enough flight hours because all the money was being sent to Ukraine. He's your typical garden variety conspiracy theorist. He was kicked out of the army because he didn't want to take the COVID vaccine, and I can kind of understand that. But dude, don't go around spreading conspiracy theories because you have an axe to grind. So now this guy has a new fake email, and Sean Ryan let him on his show to talk about how the Cybertruck bomber is actually still alive and he knows gravitic propulsion systems.
Oh, that's the other thing. People think the guy's still alive. They think that some people feel there was like they feel like a body was planted there. And I heard people talking about that supposedly he had shot himself with a 50 cal, and some people just have a hard time believing that like he did a 50 cal. There's video that we're going to take a look at because you kind of see it looks like his head moves before the vehicle explodes. And I thought they said he was already dead when it blew up. I don't know. They said he put a bullet in his head, I guess, or I don't know, just
are actually being used by China in drones on the East Coast. This guy is wackadoodle, and Sean Ryan let him just talk. So regarding Sam Shoemate, I basically have a bunch of JSON data on the guy. And I told him if he lied again, what would happen, but I guess he chose not to listen. So now we're going to do it the hard way, which is actually kind of the way I prefer. So keep in mind, when you listen to this guy, he already has a history of just making up emails out of thin air. He did it with this story, which he posted on Instagram last year. And Sean Ryan, shame on you. Shame on you for not vetting these sources.
So I don't know who's true or what. Have you guys seen the podcast yet? I haven't even watched it. I haven't even watched the podcast, man. I know I said I was going to watch. I haven't watched it. I was like, I got to like work myself up. And so supposedly, let me see this one here. Okay. So this here, I don't know. This one I don't think mentions anything about the... Does it? Oh, it does. Oh, this is the same one we read already. A population suffices in the military. Oh, let's just read it. I'm trying to see if they say anything about the drones and shit. All right, so this one here says, "We're the United States of America, the best country people to ever exist." I think it is the same thing. But right now we're terminally ill and headed towards collapse. We're crumbling because of the lack of respect, morale, and respect for others. Greed and gluttony has consumed us. We have 5 minutes. The top 1% decided long ago they weren't going to bring everyone else with them. You are cattle to them. We have strayed from the family values and corrupted our minds. And I'm a prime example of having it all, but never having enough. Gluttonous. A lot of us are sitting around waiting to die. No sunlight, no steps, no fresh air, no hope. Our children are addicted to the screens by the age of 2. We're filling our bodies with processed foods. Our population is too fat to join the military, yet we're facing a war with China, Russia, North Korea, and Iran before 2030. We must take action if we're going to make it past the next few years in one piece. We must end the war in Ukraine. with negotiated settlement. It is the only way. Focus on strength and winning. Masculinity is a good thing, and men must be leaders. Strength is a deterrent, and fear is the product. Okay. Weeded out those in our government and military who do not idealize. Number two, the income inequality in this country and cost of living is outrageous. The number of homeless on the street is embarrassing and disgusting. Have some pride and take care of this. Stop obsessing over diversity. We're all diverse, and DEI is a cancer. Thankfully, we rejected the DEI candidate and will have a real president instead of a weekend at Bernie's. Yeah, we did read this. We must move on from our culture of weakness and self-enrichment perpetuated by our senior political and military leaders. We're done with the blatant corruption. Our soldiers are done fighting wars without end states or clear objectives. This was not a terrorist attack. This was a wake-up call. Americans only pay attention to spectacles and violence. And what better way to get my point across than to blow myself up into smithereens with a light show to honor the new year? Why did I personally do it now? I needed to cleanse my mind of the brothers I've lost, and relieve myself of the burden of the lives I've took. Consider the last sunset of 24 and my actions, the end of our sickness, and a new chapter of health for our people. Rally around the Trump, Musk, Kennedy, and ride this wave to the highest hegemony, whatever you said that, hegemony for all Americans. We are second to none. For service members, veterans, and all Americans, it's time to wake up. We're being led by weak and feckless leadership who only serve to enrich themselves. Military vets, move on. DC starting now, which is, he's calling for like a war. Okay. Militias facilitate and augment this activity, occupy every major road, Fed buildings, and the campus of Fed buildings by the hundreds of thousands. Lock the highways around down with semis right after everybody gets in. Hold until the purge is complete. Damn, the purge. Try peaceful means first, but be prepared to fight to get them out of federal government and military by any means necessary. They must all go, and a hard reset must occur for our country to avoid collapse. So this is different, though, because the other one was talking about the drones and the gravity propulsion systems and all that stuff. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's real. Let me see if I can get a press conference, find a press conference for the New Orleans guy. FBI. I don't see nothing yet. Okay. So this is the video, and this is people are thinking like something's not right here. Looks like his head moves before the explosion. It kind of does look like it moves. Then it blows up. I don't know, man. Was his head moving? He definitely wouldn't be moving if he used a 50 cal on himself. None of this checks out. Ex-Green Beret Tim Kennedy, who served with the suspect accused in the deadly Las Vegas CyberTruck explosion outside of the Trump Hotel, says he was left speechless after learning of the incident and describes why none of it makes sense.
and I was just flabbergasted. I was left speechless. I couldn't believe it because I really enjoyed the time that I got to spend with him, and I found him to be incredibly competent and talented as a special forces operator. So he went through kind of every single one of the checks and balances. He was a talented Green Beret, and sounds like everybody liked to work with him. So none of this makes sense, and it's so heartbreaking. I truly hope that this is a wake-up call for service members to make sure that we're checking in with each other right now.
Well, yeah, I think definitely the guy probably had some type of PTSD. I mean, he mentions killing people, waiting on him, and his friends dying. Oh, this was weird too. Supposedly this guy, Matthew Livelsberger, was on a History Channel. Let me see if I don't know if I can play it. Let me try maybe a small screen. Still got the holiday screen going on. History Channel is kind of particular.
It's a reality show that pits teams of elite soldiers from around the world against each other.
Matt and Tim from the U.S. Army Special Forces, better known as the Green Berets.
Matthew Livelsberger and his partner Tim Kelly, both Green Berets, appeared.
Oh, my bad, guys. Here's the press conference. Hold on.
I can't wait to show.
Is this it here? Yeah.
Have been both tragic and emotional. Families have been affected in ways that will continue to haunt them now and into the future. And I believe only the power of prayer and the faith in God can pull them and us through this time. You know, everyday Americans and some and one foreign citizens' lives have been shattered and lost. Everyday Americans like Kareem Badawi, 18 years old from Baton Rouge, who was a freshman at Alabama, majoring in, whose family has described him as having lit up every room he entered and how his smile was infectious. Like Nakira Dodo, 18 of Gulfport, Mississippi, who is going to begin nursing school this month.
Fix the volume.
Mom, Melissa begged her not to go out on Bourbon Street that night. Who has been quoted as one of the most amazing persons who loved everyone and a light to be around, said Zion Parsons, who was with her during the attack. Like Billy DeMaio, 25 from New Jersey, a star student and lacrosse player who worked for Audacity in New York as an account executive, whose family and friends have described him as having an unwavering work ethic and positive attitude and kindness. Like Hubbard Guthrow, 21 of Gretna, who graduated from Shaw High School in 2021, an incredible athlete with a passion for baseball since before he could walk, it was said. His family said he had a sense of humor that was infectious, and he brightened up the room that he walked into. Like Reggie Hunter, 37 of Prairieville, who leaves behind two sons, Landon, 11, and Christian, 18 months old, whose cousin Travis said to know Reggie was to love him, who always was in a good mood. Like Terrence Kennedy, who was one of 9 siblings, who has been said has always had a way of being comical and been loving and kind. And his sister Jacqueline said. Like Nicole Perez, 27 of Metairie, who was a mother of a 4-year-old, Malio, and is described by our Uncle Raul as loving and caring, a person very dedicated to her job and to her son. Like Ed Pettifer of London, England, who worked as a director at an executive search firm, who had relations to the royal family. His family described him as a wonderful son, brother, grandson, nephew, and friend. You know, and it's tragically ironic that his father has, for over 20 years in the service of the British military, fought terrorism and terrorists on their soil, so we don't have to fight them on ours. I want to thank him for his service to the free world, and I'm deeply sorry, as all the other families, for their loss. Like Latasha Polk of New Orleans, a mother of a 14-year-old, a certified nursing assistant, whose family believes that Latasha would have wanted the city to turn out in celebration, but tinged with grief, but not in fear. Like Brandon Taylor, 43, who leaves behind a fiancée, Heather, who was with him during this nightmare, but who has described him as unique. Matthew Tenadero of Slidell, a fiber optics and video professional at the Superdome and the Smoothie King Center. His mom says we will miss everything about him, his beautiful face, his laugh, and how she loves him. And then finally, like Elliot Wilkerson, 40 of Slidell, who had 4 siblings, and whose brother said if you didn't have a shirt on your back, he would try to find one to put on you. No matter what, he was always looking to care for others. You know, each of these victims has family and friends who have to live with the tragedy and the nightmare of these events. Over the last 48 hours, we have all been focused on addressing the needs of each of these victims' families and to ensure that they are properly honored. We began on January the 2nd by ordering all the flags in the state at half-staff from sunrise to sunset. I have personally called into each of the victims' families to ensure that they are receiving the support and the answers to any questions that may have remained unanswered. I issued an executive order declaring a period of mourning for each of these victims on each of the following days under which flags of all the state buildings, schools, and universities will be at half-staff. I requested, and Dr. Cade Brumley, our superintendent of education, has called for a moment of silence in all of our public schools beginning on Monday at 9 a.m. So on Monday, January 6th, will be in remembrance of Kareem Badawi. On Tuesday, January 7th, will be in remembrance of Tiger Besh. On Wednesday, January 8th, will be in remembrance of Drew Dauphin. On Thursday, January 9th, in remembrance of Nakara Dado. On Friday, January 10th, in remembrance of Billy DeMaio. Then again on Monday, January 13th, Hubert Gothrow. On January 14th, Reggie Hunter. On January 15th, Nicole Perez. On January 16th, Terry Kennedy. On January 17th, Matthew Tenadaro. Then again, starting the following week, on Monday, January 20th, Edward Pettifer. January 21st, Latasha Polk. January 22nd, Brandon Taylor. And then hopefully concluding on January 23rd in remembrance of Elliot Wilkerson. We have been working side by side with the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office Crime Reparations Unit, the New Orleans Police Department's Victim Witness Unit, the FBI Special Victims Unit, the Orleans Parish District Attorney's Office Victims and Witness Unit, to ensure that these victims get the answers and the support that they need. I also called on a time of prayer from Thursday and culminating today, specifically asking pastors and clergy and parishioners here in Louisiana and across the nation to unite in the prayer of victims and their families. We have been specifically tasked in assisting families with expediting the transportation of the deceased family members home. Each citizen of Louisiana's body was offered a Louisiana State Police escort to the funeral home of their parish. Each of our out-of-state victims was either escorted to the state line or to the airport. We are working again with the Crime Victims Reparation Board to ensure that the support they are entitled to is expedited. And the FBI will discuss more details of what they're doing in coordination to assist us with these victims. And I'll tell you what I've told each one of those families. I don't think there's a person up here that wouldn't love to return them to their families. And so we will continue to ensure that their tragic loss is not forgotten. And while we can do nothing to undo what has happened, we are committed to doing everything within our power to honor these victims and support their families and friends. Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for being here today with the FBI and our partners. Today, in the interest of transparency, we're going to give you the latest update on the FBI's investigation into the Bourbon Street attack on New Year's Day. First and foremost, as the governor has already done, I know I speak for the FBI and all of the first responders involved in this when I say we do this for the victims and their families, even though we know that nothing we do will take away their pain and grief. What we can and are doing is investigating every detail of this attack to find answers. We are leaving no stone unturned. Before I turn it over to FBI New Orleans SAC Lionel Murthel, I'm going to talk a little bit about the overall global and national counterterrorism threat, as I think it's important to understand those threats as it relates to what went on New Year's Day here in New Orleans. Make no mistake, protecting the American people from terrorism remains the FBI's #1 priority. The threats from international terrorism, domestic terrorism, and state-sponsored terrorism are complex and persistent. And notably, they are all simultaneously elevated. You might have heard the director speak numerous times about him seeing all the red lights flashing right now. We continually face threats from foreign terrorist organizations, violent extremists across the ideological spectrum, and criminal actors that aim to bring violence and harm to the United States. During these past few years, lone actors, or small cells of individuals who typically radicalize to violence online and who primarily use easily accessible weapons, have posed the greatest terrorism threat to our homeland. Additionally, for the past several years, the FBI has provided intelligence to our law enforcement partners highlighting that ISIS calls for vehicle ramming attacks. This is a tactic that has been used for many years to conduct deadly attacks on U.S. soil and in other countries. Lone actors, as you all I'm sure are aware, present a particular challenge to law enforcement and intelligence because they are difficult to identify, investigate, and disrupt, especially when their radicalization and communication with other like-minded individuals happens online, as is believed to be the case with the New Orleans attacker, Shamsud Jabbar. Over the last year, we saw multiple plots in the U.S. that we were able to disrupt along with our state, local, and federal law enforcement partners. We simply cannot do it alone. Those include plots in September and October in Oklahoma City and New York City, respectively. The FBI continues to work tirelessly to combat the threat of terrorism, and that includes constantly working with and communicating with our state, local, and federal partners, whether that is sharing intelligence and information or day-to-day coordination of investigation. And in New Orleans, that is exactly what the FBI and our partners have done since day one. As it relates to this investigation, all investigative details and evidence that we have now still support that Jabbar acted alone here in New Orleans. We have not seen any indications of an accomplice in the United States, but we are still looking into potential associates in the U.S. and outside of our borders. The case is still very early on. As is with the case with any complex terrorism investigation, as we uncover new leads, receive tips from the public, examine electronic devices, and interview witnesses, the information as we know it evolves into a clearer picture and provides more answers. We have a clearer picture today than we did even 2 days ago. We are much further along than we were previously. I'd also like to take a moment to thank the public for your help so far. You have provided tips that have greatly enhanced this investigation. I don't think the majority of you all in the public know just how critical your information has been for the FBI in high-profile investigations like this one. Your tips and information have been instrumental in the most significant terrorism investigations that have occurred in the last 20 years. So thank you on behalf of the FBI. The FBI continues to surge resources from across the country to assist the New Orleans field office. In addition to FBI special agents and personnel based here in New Orleans, more than 200 additional personnel have been brought in to assist in this investigation in order to process evidence, support victims, and investigate leads and tips. Personnel support includes, as I stated a few days ago, special agent victim specialists, evidence technicians, specially trained crisis management personnel, and intelligence analysts. Additionally, the entire counterterrorism division at headquarters, along with other headquarters divisions, and the FBI's critical incident response group, including our hostage rescue team, continue to work around the clock supporting New Orleans and the other field offices involved in this investigation. We are not done investigating. In fact, our work has only begun. The FBI will continue to dig in and investigate to learn all that we can about this despicable attack on behalf of the victims and for their loved ones. Now, I'd like to turn it over to SAC Lionel Murthel, who's going to go into more specifics of the investigation. Lionel.
Thank you, Chris. My name is Lionel Murthel. I'm the special agent in charge of FBI New Orleans. I want to thank you and the hundreds of other FBI personnel and our partners with our local, state, and federal agencies who've been working tirelessly beside us. FBI New Orleans deeply mourns the loss of those who tragically lost their lives and extend our heartfelt prayers to those who were injured, and offer our unwavering support to those who endured the traumatic experience of witnessing such a devastating act of terror. Today we want to focus on filling in some of the gaps and giving you a greater understanding of the planning that went into this horrible attack by Shamsud bin Jabbar. We are also sharing videos showing Jabbar placing the IEDs on Bourbon Street and videos he took as he plotted this hideous attack. Thanks to information provided by you, the public, this investigation is crossing state and international borders as our agents follow leads in Houston, Texas, Atlanta, Georgia, Tampa, Florida, and internationally. FBI Houston has recovered evidence at his home there, and the work now shifts to our specialists at the FBI laboratories. Interviews are being conducted with hundreds who have been identified as knowing key pieces of this complex, evolving case. We have also tracked that Jabbar traveled to Cairo, Egypt from June 22nd until July 3rd of 2023. A few days later, he flew to Ontario, Canada on July 10th and returned to the U.S. on July 13th on 2023. Our agents are getting answers as to where he went, who he met with, and how those trips may or may not tie into his actions here in our city in New Orleans. We've also discovered that Jabbar made at least 2 trips to New Orleans in the months prior to the attacks. One in October and the other a month later in November of 2024. From what we now know, Jabbar stayed at a rental home in New Orleans beginning October 30th, 2024. He was in town at least 2 days. During that time, Jabbar, using meta glasses, recorded a video as he rode through the French Quarter on a bicycle. This video shows Jabbar during that trip in October with his Meta glasses. As we continue to learn more about
That's
that
Facebook?
trip, we
Meta
ask
glasses?
anyone who may have seen or interacted with him to contact us. Now, for more information, Meta glasses appear to look like regular glasses.
Oh.
But they allow a user to record videos and photos hand-free. They also allow the user to potentially live stream through their video.
Who's he sending it to?
Jabbar was wearing a pair of Meta glasses when he conducted the attack on Bourbon Street, but he did not activate the glasses to live stream his actions that day. Thanks to information that is coming in from the public, we now know Jabbar was here in New Orleans also on November 10th. But we are still piecing together the details of that trip. Moving closer to the day of the attacks, Jabbar is seen on December 31st.
Look at this
at
shit!
one of multiple gun stores he visited in Texas, leading up to the attack. As we go through the timeline, times we provide are approximate. Jabbar then stopped at a business in Texas where he purchased one of the ice chests he would later use to hide the IEDs. Jabbar is estimated to have entered Louisiana on December 31st, 2024 at approximately 2:30 p.m. He rented a vehicle that was seen again in Gonzales, Louisiana around 9 p.m. on December 31st. By 10 p.m., home camera footage shows Jabbar unloading the white pickup truck in New Orleans outside of the Mandeville Street rental home in the St. Roch neighborhood of New Orleans. Just under 3 hours later, at 12:41 a.m. on New Year's morning, Jabbar parked the truck and walked to Royal and Governor Nichols Street. Jabbar placed the first IED in the cooler at Bourbon and St. Peter Street at 1:53 a.m. Someone on Bourbon Street, who we have no reason to believe was involved, dragged the cooler a block to Bourbon and Orleans,
That's
where our
weird.
teams found it after the attack. Jabbar placed the second IED in a bucket-type cooler at 2:20 a.m. on Bourbon and Toulouse Streets. In the videos, you see Jabbar wearing the long brown coat we showed you in a photo released earlier. That coat was recovered in the rented F-150. At 3:15 a.m., Jabbar used his pickup truck as a lethal weapon before crashing into the construction equipment and was stopped by the brave men and women of NOPD. Shortly after 5 a.m., a fire was reported at the rental home in the Mandeville Street location in New Orleans. And the New Orleans Fire Department found explosive devices on scene after entering the home. As we released yesterday, we strongly believe Jabbar was solely responsible for the fire on the Mandeville Street in New Orleans. We determined that he set the fire before heading to Bourbon Street, based on the ATF's investigation. I'd like to bring up Special Agent in charge of the ATF Field Division, Joshua Jackson, to address the details of their investigation and to explain the origin of the IEDs and the materials Jabbar used in them.
Why would somebody
SAG
just drag
Jackson.
a cooler a block down?
Thank you. Good morning. As stated, my name is Joshua Jackson. I'm the Special Agent in charge for the New Orleans Field Division, and I want to share with the media some updates regarding the origin and cause of the fire at the Mandeville Street address in New Orleans. We'll update you on information we developed with the firearms that were recovered from the scene, as well as discuss the explosives material that was recovered in Houston and here in New Orleans at the Mandeville Street address. And I'll kind of close out with some comments about our victim witness coordinators. As to the fire, it was determined by the investigators that Jabbar drove from Houston to New Orleans by himself. Throughout his entire time at that rental location in New Orleans, he was the only one seen coming and going from that location. He left that location at 12:15 a.m. the day of the attack, and that's when he set the fire. We know this because at 12:17, the Nest thermostat converted over from heat to cool. Through the whole time and during his stay, the weather had been cold, and the heat was running inside that residence. It changed roughly 2 minutes after he left because the thermostat indicated that the temperature was rising inside the residence, and it tried to keep up with the fire that was growing inside.
Interesting.
Explain what happened with the fire. He used an open flame in the linen closet area next to the washer and dryer in a closed-off hallway centered into the residence. This hallway leads into different rooms of the house: bedrooms, the front room, the kitchen. Using this open flame in the linen area, this caused the fire to grow. He also set a half gallon of accelerant, gasoline, in a plastic gasoline container in that hallway. He also poured accelerant in different rooms throughout the house. We believe he did this, and his hope was to burn the entire house down and hide evidence of his crimes. As the fire grew in this closed-off area, it eventually ran out of oxygen and fuel, and it smothered itself before it spread to the accelerants that were placed in the other rooms. That's why the house did not burn down. At 5:18, neighbors smelled smoke in the air, and they're the ones who contacted 911, and that's when the New Orleans Fire Department showed up at this residence and put out the smoldering fire that was there, and that's when they observed the materials inside the house and contacted FBI and ATF, and we secured that location. As far as the firearms that have been recovered in this investigation, it was a semi-automatic pistol that was used by Jabbar, and it's a semi-automatic rifle. The pistol was a 9mm and the rifle was a .308 caliber. Conducting ATF urgent traces, we determined we did make contact with the individual who completed a private sale of the rifle on November 19th, 2024 in Arlington, Texas. This individual, based on our investigation, does not know Jabbar. This was a chance encounter in having this private sale transaction in Texas. There's no way this individual knew that Jabbar was radicalized or had any sort of awareness that this attack was imminent. I also want to preface that private sale transactions like this in Texas are illegal. Additional firearms that were recovered from the scene, and I'm going to call them privately made silencers, and I say that we're calling that because our Firearms Ammunition Technology Division, they still need to make a determination on these devices to ensure that they actually reduce the sound of a firearm to a degree that it can be technically classified as a silencer. But for the ease of public consumption, for you all to understand what was recovered was a privately made silencer on the rifle that Jabbar was using in an attempt to muffle the sound of that rifle as he fired it. We also recovered a privately made silencer inside the Mandeville Street address along with the explosives material. Now, there's been reports in the media about the explosive material that was recovered. That is something that is only found overseas. I want to provide more information. The explosive material recovered at the Mandeville Street address was field tested by a chemical identifier by bomb techs with ATF and FBI. This is a field test. Tested as R-salt. R-salt is very similar in look, texture, and chemical makeup as RDX, which is all readily common and available right here in the United States. These same field tests were done in Houston at Jabbar's residence, and that tested as true RDX. The FBI lab will conduct additional tests of this material, which we believe will turn out to be commonly found explosives right here in the United States. Now, what is different about this device that is somewhat unique, and it goes more to the inexperience of Jabbar. Our assault in RDX, typically you need a detonator to set it off. He did not have access to a detonator, so he used an electric match in its place to try to set off the explosive material. That is the only thing that's unique about the IEDs. IEDs themselves, how they were designed, functioned, something that our bomb techs with ATF and FBI have seen. It's not novel. What was different is he didn't use the correct device to set it off, and that is just indicative of his inexperience and lack of understanding how that material might be set off. Last comments are very important. I know that victims and family, that is the focus. That's why we're doing this job. That's why we're going, spending hours and surging resources. ATF has victim witness coordinators that are working hand in hand with all the victim resource specialists, and they're going to remain on the ground, engaged throughout services as we continue to engage and connect with the victims and the families. So our thoughts and prayers remain with them. Our focus and our energy remain with them in the city of New Orleans. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to SAC Myrtle.
Thank you, SAC Jackson. When incidents like this happen, obviously the criminal investigation is important. But the FBI never loses sight of the devastating impact on victims and their families. Helping them navigate the unthinkable is a task that we take on with a number of local, state, and federal partners. It's a task that started within hours of the attack. The work done by these professionals is done behind the scenes, as to not re-traumatize the people who did not ask to be part of this dark day in history. Today, our victim services response team and those very important partners are opening a family assistance center, which is a centralized location where victims and their loved ones can receive in-person information and assistance. St. Martin de Porres Catholic Church on Elysian Fields has graciously offered space for our professionals to provide services and also return hundreds of personal items left at the scene of the attack. We started the process of returning these items within 1 day of the attack, knowing it's crucial to reunite these precious items to their loved ones. The Family Assistance Center will open at 1 o'clock this afternoon and offer services until 7 p.m. It will then begin operating Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. until 7 p.m. until we are certain we have provided everything we can to help those who need it. I want to say thank you again to the community, to our city, and to the victims and their loved ones. We cannot change what happened, but we are working tirelessly to determine how and why this happened here. At this time, I would like to invite Mayor LaToya Cantrell to the platform.
Good morning. Thanking our unified command here, all resources, federal, state, and local, focusing on our victims and our families. From day one, we did not waver in regards to making sure, again, that our victims were a top priority in addition to their families, but also understanding that our victims also include our first responders, our businesses, and employees as well. These services will be extended to all, and we do appreciate that. From being on the phone at the start of this with the White House, with our president, Joe Biden, in addition to AG Garland, the request was for victim services. So again, I just want to say thank you. In addition to that, the city of New Orleans will welcome President Biden on tomorrow to demonstrate, one, his unwavering support of our victims, their families, and the city of New Orleans. The city of New Orleans just continues to demonstrate its resilience and its love for its people, coming together in prayer and making sure that we're lifting our community up, our city up, every step of the way. Our mission remains on increased public safety as we move towards hosting major events in the city of New Orleans, whether that's Super Bowl or Mardi Gras, and others to follow. But with this, I have specifically requested through the White House that the city of New Orleans be assisted with getting a tactical expert in our city this week to map our city for target hardening measures, where and how. These are requests that have been made by me specifically and our New Orleans Superintendent, Ann Kirkpatrick. In addition to that, we have submitted a re-adjudication request for Mardi Gras to be removed from a Tier 2, upgraded to a Tier 1. This is something that we have been advocating for many years now, I can say since 2019, but we do believe that it will be processed. This is something that the governor and I will have conversations with the president on tomorrow, and we will continue to push for a Tier 1 rating for Mardi Gras. I also want to, as we informed you on Friday, but on tomorrow, it starts our activation and infrastructure activation in preparation for the Super Bowl that's coming next month. You will see this activation and even in real time and as it unfolds, again starting tomorrow, but throughout as we move towards February. The city of New Orleans will always remain focused on improving public safety measures, no doubt about that. But on today, we're here to ensure that our victims, our families, our law enforcement officers, our businesses, our employees are extended the resources that they need to not only move through grievement, but to get the support and the services that are so vitally important this day and really days to come. There has been a fund set up by the Greater New Orleans Foundation that will assist our victims as well with resources that can be reached. The information can be reached at gnof.org. I want to thank again all of our partners who have ensured that the resources are met with the need on the ground. I also want to thank just the outpouring of support from residents, from cities, from countries around the world. I also have to thank my Commissioner, Tanisha Stevens, the New Orleans Police Department, just ensuring that we're working in partnership and in real collaboration, again, to meet our people where they are. But make no mistake about it, we are working collectively and around the clock, and we will not stop. I have full confidence that the city of New Orleans not only is safe, we will continue to be safe days, weeks, and months ahead as we prepare again to host national events in our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. We want to sincerely thank the public for all the information we've had so far. And again, encourage anyone who may have interacted with Jabbar to call us at 1-800-CALL-FBI or send digital tips to www.fbi.gov/Bourbon Street attack. At this time, we will take questions.
Questions, Q&A.
Right here on the right.
Maddie Kurth with Fox 8 here. Mayor Cantrell, this is regarding looking forward to security upgrades for our big events into the Super Bowl. It's being reported that those new bollard systems that will be brought to Bourbon Street are not strong enough to stop an attack like that of New Year's Day. First of all, is that true? And if so, are there plans to revise that before the game?
So as it relates to, and as I mentioned, we are asking for a tactical expert to be in the city of New Orleans this week to go over all of our plans that have been put in place by a unified command that we've been working on this literally for months on end. So what we're wanting to do is to ensure that that boots on the ground with that expert advice to determine whether or not these bollards that you're talking about are sufficient. We're also asking if they're not, we're looking for, okay, how and what and where do they need to be placed. So this is a work in progress, and we're committed to doing everything necessary to ensure public safety measures, hardening target areas in preparation not only for Super Bowl, but for Mardi Gras as well.
Is there no way for the city to know now if that new upgrade would be strong enough to stop an attack like this?
So what I will say is that an expert opinion is something that will assure us that what we're installing meets the need, but if not, we're not stopping there. But what we do know is that the bollards that are being placed now is a part of the Super Bowl package, and the installation has been nearing completion and will be completed in weeks to come. Now, the thorough assessment that I'm asking for will determine if, in fact, they're strong enough. So I can't say with a surety that's the case, but an expert will be able to do so and will respond accordingly.
Next question. And Mayor, you mentioned that you're going to bring in this expert and you want them to kind of look over everything. We have parades that are going to be starting on Monday. What immediately can be done to make sure that those parades and the people who attend those parades are going to be secure?
So what will immediately be done is what you've seen us demonstrate, even hosting Sugar Bowl in the city of New Orleans. Hardening target areas is something that we will continue to do and deploy our assets accordingly.
Including the pass of these parades that are going to be happening on Monday?
Absolutely. I mean, this is about making sure that all assets are deployed strategically, again, to harden any target areas for public safety. We know we demonstrated that for Sugar Bowl. We'll continue to demonstrate that in preparation for parades, Super Bowl, as well as Mardi Gras.
Thank you. Right here. Kathy Park with NBC News. I have a question more so on the investigation of the images that we just saw, specifically with the meta glasses. Where were the glasses recovered, and did Jabbar wear them during the entire timeline of the attack?
Yeah, so the glasses were recovered on the person of Jabbar following him being neutralized by NOPD, and we believe he was wearing them throughout the evening.
And he was recording the entire time?
So we don't have any indication that he was actually recording, but he was wearing those glasses.
Just a quick follow-up question. You mentioned there were other cities, Atlanta, Tampa. Can you dive a little bit deeper as to why those cities were mentioned?
Yeah, so Houston, Texas, of course, is where Jabbar resided. We are looking at his travel within the United States. So he has traveled to areas within the Atlanta area as well as areas within the Tampa area. And of course, excuse me?
Could there be more arrests?
We don't, at this time, we don't have any indication if there will be any additional arrests, but there are also potential witnesses, potential individuals that may provide information at these locations. So at this point, we do want to make sure that we are speaking to all those individuals where he may have visited.
Almost here then. Regarding the trip to Egypt, do we know whether it was the first time that he traveled to a country? Did he have any family of acquaintances that were explaining the trip, or do we know at this point who he met with?
Yeah, at this time we're still trying to determine the answers to that. That is exactly what our priority is for those international trips. Essentially, we're looking at who has he encountered during those trips, who is he meeting with, where has he traveled while in those specific countries, and whether or not any visits to those countries may or may not have any indication as to the reasons behind this attack in our city.
And if I can follow up, do you know at this point whether he received any financial assistance from anybody to be able to finance that trip? In other words, is it probably too early to rule out that he might have gotten assistance from a group or foreign entity at this point?
Yeah, at this time we can't determine whether or not he received any assistance. We do know that he was employed, and at the time of his attack, but at this point we can't rule out whether or not he received any type of assistance.
ABC, Sasha Besnick with ABC News. Can you explain his trip to Cairo? On the way back, you mentioned that he had traveled through Ontario on his way back to the States. What was the reason for that detour?
Yeah, so we don't know the reason behind that, and again, this is one of the items that we are looking to get some clarity on as to the purpose and reasoning behind each of those individual trips. So we have legal attaché offices in each one of those countries, the FBI does, but we are working with our law enforcement partners as well as our government partners as well to determine those answers.
On the arsalt that was used here, as opposed to a much more common, easily gettable compound, does that speak to someone giving him some sort of instruction? How did he get his hands on this more rare explosive? Can you speak more about that?
Yeah, I'll defer that question to SAC Jackson.
Yeah, so again, this is a field test that was done in the field, right? So all this material is going to be tested at the FBI lab. We believe when the chemist and the lab examines the material, it will be true RDX. Arsalt is not as common as RDX, but there's precursor materials at the house in Houston where he made this material. So the field test is preliminary. Let the FBI lab confirm the material. But again, these materials are available here, and at this time there's no indication that he received this material from overseas.
Brittany Berner, local WDSU NBC affiliate. So do you think that by the person moving the cooler, if he placed it in the finished cooler, that potentially gets toward his plan of what he had?
Yeah, I have no indication if that either deterred his plan or not. We do know that those individuals appear to be unwitting as to what was inside the coolers when they were moving the coolers or looking inside the coolers. But we don't have any indication that whether or not that deterred his plan.
And as a follow-up, you initially it was said that it was other people to be believed to be a part of this. I know you said that you have no reason to believe that now. So we don't believe the person, whoever moved the cooler or anything, was in regards to this.
We don't have any indication that the individuals that moved the cooler were accomplices or witting individuals. From what we've observed so far and what we've gathered through our investigation is that they were unwitting individuals who moved the cooler from location to location without knowledge of what is in the cooler.
Was he driving it at all? Like, do you think he was driving it, like, as far as it being motorized of some sort?
No, the cooler was not motorized. The cooler was a standard square. There were two coolers, standard square cooler, as well as a circular ice cooler as well.
Right here.
Mike Burlstein, WWL Louisiana. I have a question and a follow-up if I could. The first question is, when you mentioned electronic match instead of some kind of standard detonator, why was that not employed? What foiled that? Was there a plan for him to use that? Does it have a remote capability that somehow did not get used?
Yeah, as to that question, so electric match or hobby switch are commonly available items that common citizens could get their hands on. A detonator is not something that a common citizen can get their hands on. That's why he chose electric match. Is readily available. As far as the device that was recovered, the devices did have receivers attached to them with the explosives material. There was a transmitter that was recovered inside of Jabbar's vehicle. So we believe that the transmitter would have functioned and would have worked, but for New Orleans PD putting him down before he could get access to that transmitter and set off the devices.
And my follow-up question is, we have heard about things that Jabbar posted on social media, obviously threatening in months and days before the attack and then in the hours. Is there any intelligence capability, FBI or otherwise, that could have intercepted what he posted on social media?
That's a great question. The key here, when it comes to social media posts, we really rely on the public, the individuals who are seeing these posts to report these posts. As you know, there are several privacy concerns regarding social media. So unless it's a publicly available online platform, we have to have a legal process in order to get into those postings. So really, we rely on information from the public and information from concerned
Can you go
citizens.
a little further into where he posted this and who may have seen it in advance of the attack?
Yeah, I don't know who would have seen it in advance of the attack. He has, from our understanding, he's posted on a couple encrypted applications as well as on his own social media.
Right here?
Yeah, Jack Burke with AP. Do we have any indications as to why he chose New Orleans specifically to play that attack?
No, we don't have any indication as to why he specifically chose New Orleans. Again, this is one of our top priorities, is to get an understanding as to not just on the day of the attacks, but the reasoning behind the two previous trips back in October as well as November. But that is a concern for us and a priority for us as well.
Right here. Hi, it's Anna Adams here from BBC News. I just wondered if there was any indication from what some discussed the fire in Mandeville around about 5 o'clock. If you had any idea why he waited till 3 a.m. to carry out the attack?
No, I think the timeline is this. So what occurred was he left the Mandeville Street address in New Orleans at 12:15 a.m. Right before he left the residence, he already used an open flame to start a fire in the linen closet. The fire is burning. And we know that because the thermostat converts from heating the home to cooling the home, even though it's cold outside. And it's trying to compensate for the temperature in the house elevating from the fire being inside. The fire extinguished itself at some point after that because it was put in a closed area where it ran out of oxygen and fuel, and it smothered itself. At 5:18, a neighbor down the street smelled smoke in the air, and that's when they called 911 and the fire department showed up, and then we all went over there at that point. So the timeline is, he said it at 12:15 when he left. It lit and it went for some time. It smothered itself at some point after 12:17, and when the fire department arrived, they put out the smoldering fire.
One more question. If it's possible to know, just to follow up to that, I mean, it's safe to say that he would wreak more havoc sooner than 3 a.m. You don't have any idea why he waited those few hours and leaving the house in Mandeville to arriving at the French Quarter?
No, the way that accelerants were placed around the house, his intention was for the whole house to go up. It could have been, it could have been a distraction. You know, he's not here to explain himself on that, but it could have been done as a distraction to have resources ushered that way. But again, the way that the accelerant was set up in the house, in the different rooms, the intent was for the fire to spread and then eventually engulf the whole house.
Thank you very much, everybody. We appreciate it. I'd like to give you the information about where you can find the videos. You can go to FBI.gov/Bourbon Street Updates or go to our FBI YouTube page. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, well, that was a pretty long press conference. Let's go over some of the recapping, a little bit of the details. Brian Enton was posting recap details of the presser. But so this guy apparently had lit I think it was an Airbnb he was staying at. He had lit the place on fire in a linen closet. I think they said to that he put multiple accelerants throughout the house, but he left it in a closet. I guess he closed the door, and you know, fire needs oxygen, and so they ran out of oxygen in there, I guess, and the fire put itself out. I guess in his head, the whole place was going to go up in flames. Now, the other thing is he had multiple bombs, and this whole IED thing was kind of weird too, because he had left one of them in a cooler, and somebody else had just happened to take the cooler and drag it a block away for no reason. Like, who does that? I'm just going to grab this cooler, I don't know what's inside, and just carry this a block. But they're saying so far they think he acted alone. Or they're saying he acted alone. They don't believe he had any help from people in the United States, but they're looking to continue to look outside the U.S. And he traveled to Cairo, Egypt, on June 22nd through July 3rd of 2023. Then they flew to Canada, and they're looking at who he met on those trips. He also traveled to New Orleans ahead of his trip. And he recorded it with the Meta glasses in the French Quarter, which is the video that we saw that was released during his presser. Here's some of the video. Looking at it again, he was, I guess, cycling.
Is that day. Thanks to information that is coming in from the public, we now know Jabbar was here in New Orleans also on November 10th, piecing together.
So they were saying that like they don't think he live streamed, or they didn't see that he live streamed, but then they also said like they didn't see that he recorded. So what was the point of that? Having those glasses on. This guy just has all kinds of shit in his. That was weird. And Jabbar placed the first ID cooler at 12:53 a.m. A bystander just happened to drag the cooler a block away. The FBI does not believe the bystander is involved. Then at 2:20 a.m. places the second IED. And then at 3:15 is when this guy rams his vehicle into victims. We talked about the Airbnb. It smoldered itself out. AATF recovered Jabbar's rifle and pistol. He bought them from a private seller. Private seller did not know he was radicalized. And then what they said about the IEDs, that ATF says the IEDs Jabbar used were not unique, but he did not use the correct device that set itself off. So he used the wrong device. I guess the trigger, the remote detonation. And they were saying, too, I read somewhere that they believe the person that shot the suspect, the cop that killed the suspect, saved a lot of lives. But I don't know if those devices could go off anyway. It seems like he set it up improperly. That would have been even worse, disastrous. It was already crazy and insane with how many people he killed and the way he did it. But imagine he pulled off setting bombs. New Orleans police officer who shot and killed Jabbar saved a lot of lives. FBI says the transmitters in Jabbar's car would have worked to set off the IEDs. I don't understand that. So they said it would have worked, but then they also say that he set it up improperly. He did not use the correct device to set it off. I mean, maybe they're saying he still could have gotten it off. I don't know. Jabbar. And I don't know if you've heard, there's a lawsuit. Lawsuit's coming in against the city of New Orleans.
We are also learning that a New Orleans law firm plans to file a lawsuit against the city and the police there, claiming they failed to implement basic safety precautions for residents and visitors. Authorities are still investigating the suspect's motives and how he allegedly carried out the attack. The FBI saying in a statement today, authorities found bomb-making materials at the New Orleans home rented prior to the attack, and that he tried to burn the house down by setting a small fire in a hallway and placing accelerants to help spread.
So we'll see how that goes. Do you guys think they have a chance at this lawsuit? I mean, I guess they're going to argue that, because some people that said the barricades were up, some people said it wasn't, and then some guys said it was like a flimsy orange thing. It wasn't really a barricade and all that stuff. Do those families have any legality? Or not legality, really, but civil lawsuit? This History Channel is really weird. And there was a guy that was blown out of his wheelchair from this guy that plowed his vehicle.
In New Orleans was badly hurt, but it also robbed him of his mobility. But the United Cajun Navy has stepped up to help. Reporter Elizabeth Bourgeois is here with his story. Lizzie.
Yeah, many GoFundMe accounts have been set up for victims and their families, but today one victim got a life-changing donation, a wheelchair. Jeremy Sinsky, who's paralyzed from the waist down, was visiting New Orleans with his family from Pittsburgh for a New Year's Eve family vacation when tragedy struck.
No, I didn't see anything. I was screaming, help, 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 help.
That's all Jeremy Sinsky remembers when he came to, lying in the middle of Bourbon Street. The paraplegic was meeting his family back at their hotel when he says all of a sudden he was on the ground, disoriented and confused.
In my head, I thought, well, maybe I'm on the ground because of the people were shooting and I was on the ground to get away from it.
Sinsky was hit by the truck, driven by a suspected terrorist. moments before it crashed into this lift parked on Bourbon. His wheelchair left crushed.
I still didn't put two and two together that the truck hadn't done anything really. And even though I had seen the truck, I never even thought that that's what had happened because I was so out of it.
Sinski's mobility was once again taken away, as his wheelchair is now evidence of a crime. But today, the United Cajun Navy partnered with the Per Mobile organization to donate a new custom-fit wheelchair to Sinski.
And the wheelchair that you're talking about is a motorized wheelchair that is a specialty, that is custom made. And these wheelchairs run from anywhere from $40,000 to $50,000 to $60,000.
A chaplain with the United Cajun Navy, Tony Dickey, has spent the last 48 hours in the hospital with Sinski and his family. He says this wheelchair will take a large burden off the family.
The paramobile people, they have a specialist here from the foundation that we're going to actually put him in the wheelchair at one for a fitting. We're going to make sure the wheelchair meets the specs that they have already got for him, and it will be adjusted to his particular needs.
So he can continue to live his life like he plans.
That's that guy in a wheelchair. We talked about this lawsuit
Behind us is what we call hardening the target. So we have brought in heavy trucks. You will see when you go down Bourbon, you will see yellow, what we call archers, and they're along the sidewalk. And that would be preventive if someone had, or if this particular terrorist went around up on the sidewalk, that's what that would do, okay? It would slow that down for anyone who thought that they could breach our targets. And so those are some of the main differences we are done in the quarter. Also, you are going to see an incredibly large presence of police. And we are, though, confident, but we want our community to feel confident and know they are confidently safe. And that's what we're going to do. So right now, I can declare to you that the Bourbon Street is open.
Basically just a money grab. While it's technically possible to place barriers on the sidewalk, as many as 23 intersections would need to be hardened. Oh, no, man. Law firm alleges negligence by the New Orleans police. Because of the negligence from the NOPD and the city of New Orleans, 14 innocent lives were lost, dozens more were injured. While speaking to reporters, Kirkpatrick said she didn't know about the existence of yellow archer sidewalk barriers. Okay. Crazy, 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 man. So that's the update for today from the FBI officially. On unrelated news, like little tidbits. The other day I saw this video go, I guess kind of viral. I think this was in Texas. Is this Texas?
Village.
I think this is Texas. Yeah, Harris County. So there was somebody going around just slashing tires. Apparently they caught this guy. Harris County Sheriff Ed Gonzalez, 23-year-old Jesus Arellano, was arrested, charged with 6 initial criminal mischief charges. Gonzalez confirmed an investigation into at least 22 tire slashings. I don't know what's wrong with these kids. I don't know if they're bored. Well, he's 23 years old, but I don't know what they want.
Residents of the Westfield Village neighborhood gave us video showing who appears to be a younger man walking down the street with what appears to be a knife in his hand, slashing tires.
So how many cars in your driveway got hit?
For us, it was 2. Only my mom got lucky.
Just this one car because I was out with the other one.
Okay.
So I was lucky that way.
It's not 1, 2, or 3 cars. The HOA tells us it's about 30.
Wow. Unbelievable. So casual, so nonchalant, just so brazen. Ridiculous. Dude does not care.
But the owners of the cars sure do, trying to figure out how to get the tires changed and how a brand new tire fits into their post-Christmas budget. Neighbors are left with a flat tire. And
I think people like this, they should be put on a list. Some type of, like, this guy has some type of mental problem. They should be put on a list, on some type of watch list, or they should at least investigate him beyond just these tire slashings. Talk to his parents or family. Something's going on with this guy that he's probably going to escalate if he hasn't done already. I don't know. Just randomly slashing dozens of tires. Norman Bates. Mother? Mother, where are you, Mother? I love you, Mother. I love you. That show was crazy as hell. Norman Bates. Bates Hotel. There was this other viral clip. Viral. Blew up. There was this woman. This was in Dubai. I guess this lady was sitting down eating. And some lady, I don't know where she's from, Canada or the UK or something. I guess she laughed at the lady. That's the way she's eating through the, I guess, hijab. I guess. So I guess they're recording and laughing. And they got very strict rules out there in Dubai. You want to play around, man, they might lock your ass up. Apparently they found her. Ironically, her name is Peppa. Peppa has been detained. Oh, hell no. Do you guys think this was too much? Or is this right for, let's say, to be locked up and arrested? What do y'all think? Somebody here says, I'm generally in favor of Islamic countries deciding for themselves how to live, but this is genuinely stupid. And this guy says it's not. F around and find out. You wouldn't get it. And that's why most of your states are garbage. Heaps filled with zombies. Woo. Somebody here said, what a bunch of fragile babies. And then he said, quite the contrary. Dubai has strict rule of law, and that's why it has no crime. Unlike Canada. So she's from Canada. Your countries baby the criminals, and that's not fragile. That's cowardly. Oh. Detained for laughing? You know that's not it. I pray every day Western liberalist culture never touches the East. God bless Dubai and their strict rule of law. Maybe it was recording or something. I don't know. They have strict rules about recording. There was some streamer out there that I guess he didn't get permission. What was that, Neon? I think they locked up Neon for a while. They have very, very strict rules out there, laws out there, you know. And I think they do have a really low crime rate. Dubai, low crime rate. I don't think she's going to do serious time. But I don't know. Dubai has a low crime rate and is considered one of the safest cities in the world. Strict laws. Dubai has strict laws and harsh penalties for criminal offenses. Well-trained police force, high standard of living, zero tolerance for policy for drugs, clean and safe public transportation. In 2024, Dubai was ranked as the world's safest city with a safety index of 86.8. It's also considered one of the most safest Middle Eastern cities for tourists. Okay. Wow. There's no Sharia law there either? You people are savagely killing people with cars across the world, and you're worried about a smart because she exposes your oppression and abuse of women. Y'all are savages. Somebody over here snapping. So that was kind of the big thing. I didn't know if they were going to catch her, but you know how the internet is. I remember when this first came out, everybody was searching for this woman. Find her, find her. I was like, oh shit, she might be on the run now. Find her, find her. Oh, and they found her. They found her. Somebody else here posted, this isn't the West. Laws are very clear here when it comes to privacy and respect. Act accordingly or don't, and learn the hard way. Dubai has a very dark side. I'm curious about their dark side. What is the dark side of Dubai? I agree, Laura. It is rude, especially. I mean, it would be rude over here anyway in the U.S., but especially going to somebody else's country and doing that kind of, you know, like. So they caught her ass, man. It was something else. Oh, just a small little thing. The vegan stories always gets me. I'm not nothing against vegans, you know. They got discipline, probably living a healthier lifestyle than me. Though I feel like at some point they go kind of crazy. I mean, I guess you have to make sure you fully supplement yourself. But vegan restaurant closes after backlash from adding meat to their menu. Oh no! Oh no! I guess you gotta go hard or go home. Like you can't mix. Especially some of those people. They're very particular. Wasn't there a story of Brian Kohlberger when he was it his parents' house or some shit? I think it was Mama's house or some shit. That he got upset. And he's like, I don't want you using your pots and pans or your dishes with your filthy meat. He demanded that they buy new pots and pans. And if it was me, I would have said, get your ass out of the house. I think he got upset about some vegan stuff. He was demanding. I don't remember what it was. It was funny. I think one of his family members said that or something. I don't know if his honor or somebody. He made them chain out their pots and pans. I would have just kicked his ass out. You would have just got kicked out. We ain't dealing with this shit. Or just here's a plastic plate or something. Or paper plate. So, all right, let me see if anything else is going on, but I hope you guys are doing good. I've been doing my walks every day now. I got to get into the gym, though. I lost my key fob thing for the gym. I got to get a new one. But I've been just doing like little push-ups in the house, walks, jogs, trying to get the body moving. I think we're good for today so far. There was a bunch of potential chases yesterday, but nothing popped off. They were like quick and over, so nothing really happened with chases last night. Oh, I thought this was kind of interesting. So apparently I saw this yesterday. Costco's Sky High solution. Apartments over retail. So Costco, and I don't think this is the first time it's been done. I think I don't remember what company that said did it. So on top of their supermarkets, they're going to put apartment buildings. I don't know what, somebody did this, I thought, already. Costco building apartments above its stores to address the affordable housing crisis starting early this year. I mean, business-wise, maybe it's smart. Maybe for the company. Maybe it's smart for the company. I mean, how convenient would that be, right? You just go downstairs as a grocery store. But the only other thing is just having so many people at your outside of your apartment complex all the time. Like loads and loads of people. I mean, I guess they'd make like maybe a back entrance or something, or side entrance. But man, you could just go downstairs, get your stuff, and come back up. Walking downstairs and getting a $1.50 hot dog gives a new meaning to affordable walkability. It includes free membership, a rooftop pool, fitness area, gardens, and courtyards, and a community space. Los Angeles is the first residential complex with 800 apartments and a built-in store. Would you live in Costco? Is Kirkland the one that did it? Let me see. Any updates on the gang of cars taking over the cities? No, I haven't. I don't even think I've covered that, Denise. I haven't heard of that. Oh, they have shorter hours? People will be gone by 6. No, it's real. Well, I'll double check. It's always good to double check. Costco building apartments. Yeah, it's well, actually, I see this from September 2024. It's not actually new news. I see this. Costco breaks ground on Los Angeles complex. So this is from September. This guy posted it. He posted it yesterday and it went viral. 6.6 million views. Yeah, no, it's a real thing. So 800 rental apartments in the planned low-rise buildings above the retail space. Developer Thrive Living plans to make 184 of them, 23%, dedicated to low-income households. So, okay, so 184 of the 800 apartments will be for low income. I don't know. I wonder if they built it already. Or I guess it's in the process, maybe. Let me see. Do they have any pictures? The pictures that they have all looks like just like an AI blueprint, you know, like what it would look like. I don't think I see actual pictures of it. It looks like a 3D rendering type of thing. So I wonder what kind of prices they're going to charge outside of the 23% of the apartments that will be low income. The rest of the people, what are they going to be paying? Gonna make Costco a hood spot. Look up Mar Mall apartments. Okay. I mean, it looks kind of cool. I don't know that I like living close to like where things are, but I don't like crowds either. I mean, usually being close to where things are gonna bring crowds, but I have like a nice balance where I live. But Mall apartments. Oh, it's a mall, but apartment. Oh, okay. I mean, I'm seeing different things pop up. It's like basically a little mall on the bottom, and then like some apartments on top, something like that. Oh yeah, that's interesting. I guess it's not the first time. There's been different businesses that have done things like that. Apartments on top. I know. Yeah, the homelessness is so bad. And speaking of homelessness, there was this guy because it's so bad in the New York trains, subway. There was an article I was going to share, but I lost it now. I think the New York Post posted it. What the hell? Oh, New Orleans Assistant District Attorney Ian Kirsting found dead in an apparent unaliving. What? District Attorney or the DA? Okay, that's weird. New York Post. Let's see. Wow. Look at this crap, man. How bad it is out there. I don't know if the meta glasses are, when they said meta glasses for the terrorists, is that the Facebook thing? I'm sorry, I'm bouncing all over the place. They put Zuckerberg on this thumbnail. Okay, and here's the guy. All right, so as far as New York City violence, so there's this one story here. NYC's deadliest police precinct where fruit vendor was beaten to death. Innocent dad gunned down. If you bump into someone, they want to kill you. You remember the other night we were covering the Queens shooting? I think it was Queens, but Jamaica Queens, that club or whatever. And I was somewhat sarcastically, kind of tongue-in-cheek, saying, I wouldn't be surprised if all these people got shot up because somebody stepped on somebody's shoe. That's all it takes. Stepping on somebody's shoe, or like here, say you bump into somebody. Oh, sorry, excuse me. They'll light the whole place up. Wow. A hardworking fruit stand seller so savagely beaten that his family needed to cover his bashed-in head with a fedora at his funeral. Oh my God. An innocent 29-year-old dad excited for his daughter's upcoming third birthday, murdered by a vicious gangbanger. An autistic, obsessive-compulsive man bleeding out. What? an autistic, obsessive compulsive man bleeding out in his lobby after inadvertently moving his killer's backpack. I'm telling you, that's all it takes. That's all it takes.
Brown with the New York Post. We're out here on the sidewalks today talking to New Yorkers about crime in the city.
It's terrible. Can't go in the train in the morning without some disgruntled person bothering you or somebody acting crazy. The city needs a lot of help.
I've had somebody come up to me one time and they just started threatening me and then they pulled a knife out on me, and yeah, it's really scary. Like for me as a guy, like I can't imagine for a lady.
I definitely feel like it has increased. Like, you know, I carry pepper spray in my bag just in case, because you just never know.
I feel like that's what makes us New Yorkers. Like, we're tough. We're built for the city. You know what I mean? Tourists, on the other hand, you know, they might not be used to this.
In New York, we're so like numb to the things that are going on now because it's happening so frequently. That's why a lot of people have the perception that New Yorkers are so like hard or cold-blooded, is that we're so used to seeing the same things every day.
Almost like once a week, we get like the public safety announcements of like, there's been a crime around your area, like involving a student.
How does that make you feel?
Scared and like anxious to go outside alone.
I feel incredibly safe here.
Can you elaborate on that? What makes you feel safe?
There's somebody around all the time if I need help.
I know some of my colleagues don't.
Ooh, I hope you don't ever get into a situation and there's people that are just standing around watching while something's happening, because that's, I've seen, you know, so many times it's happened. But I've seen these types of interviews and people going around, and a lot of them, people will say, oh no, this and that, or I'm kind of concerned. And then you have the one or two people that are like, it's safe, it's perfect. Just like the governor walking through the train station, doing a photo op and a video op. Oh, it's great. Safety's up. Anyway, really sad situation. I guess this guy here, Ronald Gomez Mesa, an innocent bystander, was fatally stabbed. Jeez. There's crime everywhere. And then there was this other person. This just came out today. I don't know exactly when it happened, but man stabbed in an NYC subway station as congestion pricing kicks in. Congestion pricing? What the hell is that? Forcing more communities into dangerous systems. Man was stabbed in a Bronx station early Sunday, mere hours after congestion pricing went into effect, forcing more New Yorkers into increasingly violent subway stations. It was not immediately clear if the victim and the suspect knew each other. What prompted the attack? 38-year-old was sliced in the arm inside of 3rd Avenue and 138th Street, number 6 Express Station in Mott Haven just before 4 a.m. Wow. The attacker fled. All right. So what is this? What is this? Congestion toll? Is that some new shit they're starting out there? Maybe look that up. Congestion pricing. Okay. They charge you extra if there's a lot of people out. Yeah, so this is something, I guess, starting today, it seems like, maybe. The tolling program, the first of its kind in the country, will face its first big test with rush hour. So what, if it's busy, they charge you more? Lynn, I did see something like that. I don't know where I saw it. I saw it on Twitter. There's some guy in Duluth that stabbed people. I thought it was multiple people. The tolling program. The new fees are intended to push more people to use trains and buses and raise billions of dollars to improve mass transit. Wow. Congestion pricing has finally arrived in New York City after decades of delays and challenges, including a failed last-ditch effort by the state of New Jersey to end the program that will charge most drivers $9 to cross into Manhattan. The average travel speed was 15.1 miles per hour at 8 a.m. and about 3% faster than the 14.6 miles per hour recorded. So they're tracking this congestion pricing. Weird. All right. Well, I guess I'm going to jump off for now. I've been hanging out here for a while. If anything pops off today, I will jump on. But if not, I'm just going to be hanging out with family and stuff. Tomorrow's back to school. My gosh. Tomorrow's back to school. So back to waking up pretty early in the mornings. Try to go to sleep a little bit earlier if I can. Crazy. Oh, and there was this horrible story. I mean, I don't know. I keep seeing this nurse pop up. Really just nasty, 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 man. This woman breaking Virginia nurse arrested for breaking bones of newborn babies in hospital NICU. That's neonatal critical unit. Or, yeah, let me see. I think neonatal is intensive care unit. Neonatal intensive care unit. So she's messing with, working with babies. Yeah, intensive care unit. And I believe it was multiple babies charged with abuse after babies suffered horrific fractures and ICU. Sick lady. Sick. As previously mentioned, detectives are re-examining the 2023 and 2024 cases as part of a broader investigation. Sometimes these people, man, like I forgot what they call them, angels of hell, hell's angels or something, dark angels. These nurses or medical professionals that kill, like sometimes it takes a long time to detect it. And then they finally catch on and find out. And then they have to track and review all these other cases of potential victims. It says this involves reviewing dozens of videos from inside the NICU and re-examining cases in 2023 and 2024. She graduated as a nurse in 2019. Her arrest comes after a couple spoke out after Virginia Child Services informed them that their newborn baby had been abused by an employee at NICU when he suffered a fractured leg following his premature birth. Authorities opened a probe into the inexplicable fractures after 4 babies were injured in the summer of 2023 and 3 more were hurt in November and December this year. It's so crazy. I don't know. And then I think sometimes too when the hospitals find this shit out, I feel like sometimes they're a little bit reluctant. Maybe not this day and age. I don't know. But they're thinking about the bad press, the legalities and all this stuff. This case echoes that of British serial killer nurse Lucy Letby. That's what's scary, man. Like you think you're in a safe place. These are medical professionals, man, and you never know what's going on with these people. And I forgot there was a case too, where this lady had like Munchausen syndrome, by proxy Munchausen. So she would like put these people in bad predicaments and get them sick or almost kill them, and then revive them and be there for the blue alert or whatever. And revive them and be hailed as a hero. I forgot what nurse that was. Crazy ass shit. Man. And I wonder if this lady, what's her stat, like what's her deal? Like, can she not have kids or something? She went quacked or something, or smiling and shit. It's crazy, man. It really is just. I don't remember their names, but I've seen a couple of documentaries over the years of nurses or whatever like this kind of like killing, and it just takes a while for the people to find out and fully investigate, and people coming after the fact like, yo, this happened to my family member and this happened to them and this was kind of similar. Like, I want you to look into this because my family member died like that or whatever. Yeah, this lady's been circulating a lot. Mm-mm. All right, guys. Well, be safe, man. Love you. Take care. Oh, oh my God, I'm never gonna leave. Last thing. I use YouTube Premium, and I know people that use it. And basically, it's the YouTube thing where like you don't see any ads. You never have to see ads, and it still supports creators. I guess you get like a small percentage or something. But anyway, I have that, and I find it really beneficial. One of the things I didn't realize is you get YouTube Music with it, which is pretty cool because it's just like Spotify. And I have to try it out. There's a thing online, like a feature where you can actually transfer your playlist from Spotify to YouTube Music. So I'm going to try it out. I'll let you guys know for anybody interested, because I might cancel my Spotify. Because if I'm getting everything in one for, well, I have the premium family, so I give it out to my family members, some of my friends. I think they give you 5 or 6 spots for one price. And then you get YouTube Music, which to me is, I just started the playlist, but I'm going to transfer everything I have over, but it's not bad. I got to fix the autofocus. So I just found out about the YouTube Music the last couple of days, and I'm like, damn, I didn't know that. So I'm going to try to transfer my playlist and maybe get off of Spotify, because I mean, what's the point in paying for two music services? I already have one. Oh, I didn't see that, Wanny. Okay, I'll have to check that out. Yo, Randy, I didn't think about that either, Randy. She tortured them and set the parents up for future abuse charges. Yeah, that's diabolical. I love Premium. I thought Premium was kind of like, at first, I thought it was ridiculous, but somebody I knew was on it, and they were like, you got to try it. So I tried it out, and then I was like, damn, I actually really like this shit. So I got on it, and then eventually I got the family plan, because you can just give it out to a couple of people at the same price. I mean, the family plan costs more than the single plan, but and then I found out there's YouTube Music, and I'm like, oh, I might as well just put my playlist, transfer the playlist on there. And I found a free one, because there's one playlist transfer thing that you have to pay, but I just found one that's free, so I'm gonna try that after I get off. See if I can move it over. Spotify is nothing but Drake spam. You have a music app for free? What? All right, guys, take care. Love you. Bye. Be safe. Peace. Bloop, 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 bloop.